Right, you should have gotten the recording in progress message. Okay, so let me share the screen and we'll go ahead and get started. Except I didn't share the screen properly, so let me see what's wrong. This should do it. All right, so welcome to Math 252. I'll be going over the syllabus. You should have already seen it. So I've sent it out multiple times. So if you've already read it, great, you're ahead of the curve, so to speak. Okay. So a couple of quick things. Sent out a calendar. So you see the calendar, we're here. All I was scheduled to do was introduction. So if I sneak in a little bit of 6.1, that's extra gravy, so to speak. Okay. And you should also have the list of all the homework assignments. As you can see, 6.1 was 1 to 29 odd. I ended up doing quite a few of these in class anyway. And some of you have had me in the past, you know about this. Again, I apologize for those of you who have never seen me before. I will occasionally refer to those of you that had me before because I'm doing things a little bit differently. So I'll be referencing that. Okay. All right, so welcome. Ignore that. I'm not answering that. I'm not on campus. Ignore that. That's my office on campus. You can email me here. I also teach at City College of San Francisco. That's a ccsf.edu. I would prefer that you email me here, but sometimes for one reason or another, one of these tends to go down. So you can email me at either, but I do ask that if you email me, tell me that you are in this class, the Math 252 from 8 to 9. Okay, because otherwise I don't know exactly which class you're all in since I'm teaching 5 classes total. So that would help me out. Yeah, I do have office hours from 10 to 11 by Zoom. I give you the Zoom links for that. I have office hours by appointment also, Mondays from 11 to 2, Wednesday and Friday, 11 to 12, if you need extra help for that also. All right, and you should already have all this. All of this should be in your possession. So if you look along and say, okay, I've already seen it, so fine. Course description, this is legal. I need to put down what it's all about. Student learning outcomes, that's legal. I got to put it down in case you need to show your transferring institution, hey, what did you learn in Math 252 or whatever? This is it, and this is it, right? By the way, don't get scared by all this language and say, oh no, I don't know what all this is about. Oh yeah, you're not supposed to know what this is all about now, but hopefully by the end of the semester, you'll know what all of this is about, right? But these are our topics. I see the screen doesn't quite show the whole thing, so I might have to keep going back and forth here. And quick reminder of ground rules again. Yeah, so if you join our class every time, I'll generally start around 8:10. I'll open up around 8:05-ish. Okay, when you join, please keep yourself muted. Have your first and last name as on my row sheet, so I don't have to guess who you are. I won't be taking attendance, but if you don't show up, just watch the video later. And of course, it means you can't ask any questions if you're not there. Okay, so the only time you have to come on the Zoom from 8:10 to 9 o'clock is on exam days. Okay, so the only times I will be taking attendance formally are, our first exam, which is what, Friday, September 3rd. You have to join Zoom. Friday, September 24th, you have to join the Zoom. And here, and here, and where'd it go? And here, and the final exam. Okay, all the other times, attendance is optional. You can just watch the video later. And yes, a reminder, I do record. So if I ever forget, and I sometimes forget, it happens, that I forget to record, and please remind me, hey, you didn't record the session, so that would help me out a lot. Okay, more legal stuff. This is a paragraph regarding sexual harassment. I'm supposed to put it there, so there it is. Okay. Protocols. Again, attendance is not mandatory except for exams. I'll make a video of every lecture provided I remember. So again, if I forget, somebody please remind me. And then I'll make them available on YouTube, generally by later that afternoon. I'll start around 8:10. Keep yourself muted. Cameras are optional. So since I record, your image is being recorded also. So if you don't want your image recorded, but you don't have to, that's fine. The only time I need your camera on is during exams, but I won't record those, of course. And usually I'll finish lecture early, at which point you may optionally ask questions. And if the questions stop before 9 o'clock, we'll just stop. Okay, some of you were wondering about this double slash. Some of you are computer science people. This is a way to comment out something. Okay, so this is a comment out section. These are leftovers from when we were meeting face to face, and we might be face to face again in spring 2022. I don't know, but some of you know I didn't want to just block this out, right? So if I just block it out and then I go back, the next semester says, oh, we're back to that. So I forgot, what was it again? So I would rather just quote unquote comment it out. You computer science people know that concept. So I want to keep it there, but it doesn't necessarily apply, right? So it might apply, it might not apply, but let me see what happens here. Okay, so a typical class meeting will consist of lecture, maybe in-class work. There's usually not going to be in-class work for us. Okay, there'll be a quiz on Friday or the last day of the week if Friday happens to be a holiday, or an exam. So every week, think of quiz or exam. So if you look at this schedule, right? Fridays, quiz, exam, quiz, exam, all the way through. Okay, that's what we have. Okay. I hear a little bit of background noise, so can everybody please keep yourself muted? Okay, so please mute yourselves, and that would help. So every week there's one assignment on Friday, either a quiz or an exam. Again, quiz you should really think of as assignment. It's a little bit shorter to use quiz. It's only 4 letters, Q-U-I-Z, as opposed to assignment. Okay, it's open everything. You can talk about it. You can help each other out, consult a book, internet, whatever. Okay. All right, and let's see. Paragraph on what, equity. So you can read it, it's legal. And here we are. So what do I do for quote unquote attendance? Well, I take attendance by your turning of the quiz, right? So since every week there's a quiz or exam, if I see you miss 4 quizzes and or exams, if you have 4 weeks that go by and I didn't get something in, that basically means you've missed a week, a month's worth of material, then I might drop you. So that's the only way I'm going to count quote unquote attendance. Okay, so if I see you get 4 zeros on quizzes and or exams, I might drop you. All right, homework. There's homework almost every class meeting. You already know what all the homework assignments are for the entire semester, unless I change it from time to time. So this is up. So what are we doing in the class? Everything here. The only exception is 7.7. 7.7, I didn't like any of the problems, so I made it my own problems. Okay. Now you say, well, I don't know what you're talking about here. Yeah, you're not supposed to know what I'm talking about now, but hopefully when we get to 7.7, you know what we're talking about. Right now, it just looks like a bunch of symbols, but you've probably seen, so e to the x squared and sine and ln and all that stuff. But we'll get to it. Notice most of the homework is from the odds, and that's for an obvious reason because there are odd answers in the back of the book. Okay, so don't wait for me to say, hey, you should do the homework. When I'm doing a section, you know to do the homework, right? So this week we're scheduled for 6.1. You automatically start doing 1 to 29 odd. Now, in my lecture demonstration, I end up doing a lot of the problems anyway. Now, I should hasten to add, a lot of problems I did were from the previous edition, the 7th edition. So as I do a problem, when you look at a problem and it says question 7, and then you look at the book and say, hey, it's not quite the same problem. That may be true some of the time. Now I notice most of the problems do match. And so most of the problems, if I do problem 7, it is a problem 7 in the book. But sometimes I end up doing problem, 15. And you may notice it's not 15 in the 8th edition, but it's 15 in the 7th edition. The main thing is that you're learning the material. Okay, so I'm not promising you that the problems that I show you are exactly the same as in the text, but most of the time they are. Okay, so homework. My rule for completion of homework is I only collect it every time we have an exam. So don't turn in a homework day by day. Don't even turn it in week by week. Turn it in exam by exam. Okay. Which means when it's time for the first test, Friday 9/3, you turn in all of this. It's time for the second test, which is Friday, 9/24. You turn in all of this. In the third test, you turn in this. And the fourth test, you turn in this. And the fifth test, you turn in this. And yes, it does look like our last chapter, chapter 11, is the longest chapter. And it is. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the hardest, it's just the longest. Okay. I do have a 70% homework requirement, which means if you don't turn in at least 70% of the homework, I don't grade your exam. It doesn't matter if you got it perfectly right, I need to see the homework. Okay. I end up doing a lot of the homework anyway. Okay. So in reality, it isn't that hard to get at least 70% of the homework. Okay. I mean, ideally, I want 100%, but of course, you know, from time to time, you get a problem that you don't know how to do, you don't get. That happened to me, right? So I couldn't get 100%, but maybe I got 90%. Okay. So my rule is 70%. I end up doing a good chunk of the problems, 25%, 50%, sometimes even more. So it's not that hard to do this. Okay, quizzes, again, they'll usually be on a Friday or the last day of the week if Friday's a holiday. It'll generally be for the material just recently covered. So your quiz on Friday will be stuff like 6.1, obviously. Okay, they'll generally be for the material just recently covered. Okay, this is a leftover. If you're absent or tardy that day, it will count as a 0. Again, that doesn't really apply for us, so that should be commented out because there's no absence or tardy. You can always, you know, check the video and do it later. Okay, I'll send the quiz on Friday. It's due 11:59 that evening. Plenty of time. So just take a picture on your cell phone. Just get your cell phone out, click, click, click as necessary, or if you can scan it, and just email me your answer. Email at homm@ssmcd.edu. Open book, open note, open discussion. So it really shouldn't even be called a quiz. It's more like an assignment. Okay, but I'll count it as a quiz. Okay, I mean, sometimes when you say quiz, then, you know, sometimes students will get scared or freak out, but this is about as low pressure a quiz as you can get, where you can talk to each other, help each other out, consult each other. And you don't have to do it in a short amount of time, right? Usually when you have a quiz, oh, you got to finish it within that class period. No, I'm giving you the rest of the day, just submit it by 11:59. Okay. All right, participation. At the end of the course, you'll be given a participation score. That's 100 points. It only goes down if you fail to turn in adequate homework or if your behavior in class or exams is improper, in my judgment. That normally doesn't happen. I'll go ahead and say for students who finish my course, 75% get the full 100. It really isn't that hard. Okay, and of course that helps your overall score. Participation. So think of it this way: you all have 100 right now. It'll only go down if you skip out on homework or, you know, behave in a way that I don't think you should, so forth. Okay, netiquette. So I've already mentioned most of this. So join with Zoom, you already got that. Okay, join with your actual name as on my attendance sheet so I can tell who you are. Okay. Again, a lot of this doesn't really apply since I'm not seeing you. So if you don't show your camera, I don't really care if you're in your pajamas or whatever as it was. But, you know, but if you have your camera on, which is doing exams, then try to dress appropriately, so to speak, as you were in class. Okay, shared class list. If you're willing to be in a shared class list, then let me know. I'll distribute the list only for those for whom I have permission to give out phone numbers and email addresses separately. Okay, exams. Biggie, of course. There's 5 exams. Let me just hasten to add, I think it's pretty easy to get the full 100 points in quizzes. They're really just assignments. I think it's pretty easy to get the full 100 in participation. Okay, to me, it's, so if in case you're wondering, is there any extra credit? No, because quizzes and participation are sort of already extra credit, right? It's pretty easy to get the full 100 on quizzes. You can help each other out. You can talk about it. You're not limited to finishing by 9 o'clock. You got the rest of the day to do it. And participation pretty easy too. So that'll really help for your average. Okay, so 5 exams. You already know when they are. Exam 1, 9/3. Exam 2, 9/24. Exam 3, 10/15. Exam 4, 10/29. Exam 5, where'd it go? 12/9. Final exam, 12/17. What do they cover? Here it is. Exam 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the final exam is cumulative. Right? Exams are closed book and closed notes, but you're allowed 1 formula sheet. Okay, 8.5 by 11, double-sided. So standard sheet of paper like this. You can write whatever you want on the front and the back. Sample problems, key formulas. Okay, 1 cheat sheet. Other than that, no other books, notes, people, computer, internet. Can't use that, but you can have 1 cheat sheet, 1 formula sheet, front and back, with you during the test. Okay, your calculator should not be too good, or you can, there's calculators now, and I know that you can just push some buttons that gives you everything. So yes, you are required to show me all your work. I don't go just by the final answer. Okay, I need to see your steps, everything. Okay, that goes for your homework, that goes for the quizzes, and that goes for especially the exams. I don't just want an answer. I need to see how you did it. Okay, exams are 15 minutes, of course. So normally what I'll do is I'll send the exams on Canvas announcements. You'll log on to the Zoom. You'll have to have your camera on for exams. I won't record it, of course. And the questions are similar to the ones from the homework. I don't give any trick questions, no surprises. The exams are 100 points each. Okay. Sometimes maybe I'm not the best person to ask. You can ask some of your classmates. Some of your classmates have had me in the past, so they can tell you their opinion of my exams and so forth. Okay. In general, there are no makeup or rescheduled exams because you get to drop 1. Okay. I do make some exceptions depending on what the circumstances are. We've got unusual times because of COVID. You know that, and I know that. We're all in this strange situation, so I'll try to help you as much as possible. Now, one other thing that's a little bit different, because you're not required to even join the class at all, or even if you do, you can have your cameras off. I don't really get to know who you are. So if we were meeting face to face, I see you every day, 8 to 9, right? So, oh yeah, there's Mary. I see her every day. I know what she looks like. Okay. For this kind of session, I never get to know what you look like. So that means before the first exam, so sometime before, where'd it go? The 3rd, you can send it in today if you wish. I need you to show me a picture ID, your CSM identification card or driver license, whatever, having your name and picture on it. You might cross off any sensitive information, birthday, address on a driver's license. All I need is your name and picture. So here's an example of what I did for myself. Here's my driver license. Okay. All I need is a picture and name. Cross off, birthday, address, height, weight, all that kind of stuff. Okay. Because otherwise I don't know what you look like. So when it comes to exam, how do I know you're really you, so to speak? Right? So something like this. It doesn't have to be a driver license, an ID or your CSM ID or some other ID. All I need is your name and your face. Okay. I don't need, your birthday and address and all the other sensitive information. Just block it out. All right, so that's that. I'll send exams on Canvas announcements. Okay, now, as you know, I've been sending information on CSM email for this first week or so, because once we get on Canvas, those of you on the wait list, you won't be able to get that anymore. So starting next week, I think, I'll probably send everything only on Canvas announcements. Okay, so if I give you an ad code, process it right away so that you can get on Canvas. I'll take care of that all by this week. Then next week, I'll just send things on Canvas. By the way, don't look on Canvas for anything except the announcements. So you might be saying, hey, I don't see anything, there's no modules there, no assignments there. Right, I don't do anything on Canvas except for the Canvas announcements. So don't look on Canvas for any assignments, discussions, and so forth. I only use that for announcements. All right, during exams, have your camera on with a true background. Okay, so don't have the Golden Gate Bridge behind you or something like that. True background. Keep yourself muted. And during exams, if you have any questions, I'll put it in the chat. Okay, cheating. Some of this applies, some of it doesn't apply in our situation. But you know, and I know it's a lot easier to cheat in this remote environment. Okay, so a lot of this doesn't apply because we're not face-to-face, but again, I'm keeping it. But one thing I will say is this. For each exam, I reserve the right to give an oral follow-up on Zoom. Okay, so some things I see 2 students, exact same answers. You got them both the same problems right and done the same way. You got the same problems wrong, done the same way. I wonder what's going on, right? So obvious if I catch you cheating, you get a 0. Or if I suspect it, I have the right to ask you for an oral follow-up. Okay, so I might come and ask you later and meet me on Zoom. Hey, show me how you did problem 5. Show me how you did problem 7. And if you got full credit on the exam, but you have no idea what to do face-to-face, then I'm gonna decide to give you your oral score instead of your written score. Okay? And I'll tell you if that ever happens. Other thing is, I look on your writing on the homework and the writing on the quiz. Of course, I'm not a handwriting expert, but some things you can kind of tell, right? Your writing on the homework doesn't match the writing on the test. What's going on, right? Or what you submitted on the quiz and homework is different than the writing on the test. So that doesn't seem to match up, right? So that's where I would suspect cheating. Okay, so yes, you know, and I know it's much easier to cheat under these circumstances. So if I suspect cheating, I might ask you for an oral follow-up. So I'm just meet you one-on-one. Okay, all right, Joe, show me how you did problem 2, or show me how you did problem 7. And if that ever happens, I'll let you know. Okay, disability. If you have a documented disability, let me know. There's another paragraph there. Need extra help? Math Resource Center. Christina Arenas is the head. And there's her email that's there. Final exam. There's a 300-point comprehensive final exam. We already know the date. It's Friday, December 17th from 8:10 to 10:40. Okay. The final exam is similar to the content of the other exams. Again, if you don't believe me, ask some students that have taken me in the past. I will generally, for the final exam, take problems from each of the previous exams. So I'll take some problems from the first test, second test, third test, fourth test, fifth test, and make up the final exam. Okay. In addition, you can have 5 cheat sheets for the final. In fact, you might as well just keep all the cheat sheets. So you have your 1 formula sheet for the first test, and another one for the second test, third test, fourth test, fifth test. Well, for the final exam, you don't have to make up a brand new formula sheet. Just keep the formula sheet you had for, whatever formula sheet you had for the first test, second test, third test, fourth test, fifth test. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just bring it up, bring them with you to the final exam, and that's it. This might sound a little complicated, but it's to the student's advantage nonetheless. The final exam is worth 300 points. Pretend you're taking 3 100-point exams. You're not really doing it, okay? But when I grade your final exam, I'll give you a score between 0 and 100, like all the other exams, and it gets put down 3 times. So let's say you get 80 on the final exam. Then it goes like 80, 80, 80. It's like test 6, 7, and 8. If you get 100% on the final, then it's like you took test 6, 7, and 8, and they were all 100. If you miss the final exam, 0, 0, 0. Now, then you get to drop one of those. So you pretend it's like 8 100-point exams, of which 1 gets to be dropped. Okay, so you have your first 5 exams, test 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then the final exam, which is just like, you're not really doing it, but it's just like you're taking tests 6, 7, and 8. And you get the same score in all of those. Then out of all 8 of those, you get to drop 1. Okay. So let's say if you miss an exam, say, oh, I got sick, I didn't take exam 2, it's a 0, but you get to cross that out. If your final exam turns out to be a worse score, you get to drop 1 of those. And that's the way it works. Okay, and quizzes are 100, participations 100, and the total points are 900. Okay, my grading scale is 90, 80, 70, 60. And for pluses and minuses, I go down by a percent beyond that. So let's say 89%, I would count that as an A minus. 79% is a B minus. We're not allowed to give C minuses, by the way. Okay. And let's say if you get down to 88%, that would be a B plus. And 78% would be a C plus, and so forth. Okay. So for those of you that are really, really close, let's say you didn't quite get an A, then I give A minuses and B pluses and so forth. Okay. All right. I think I'm done with that. It's only 8:40-ish, a little bit. So let me see if anybody has any questions. I'm going to stop the share quickly and check the chat. Does anybody have anything you want me to answer in the chat? Okay, I don't see anything in the chat. So anybody wants to unmute themselves or ask something in the chat? Otherwise, I'm just going to sneak in a little bit of material because it's only 8:40.
I had a quick question, Professor.
Yes.
So I don't know if it was like from last time, like one of the other semesters ago, but were you going to be posting the lectures on the cloud for Zoom or also on YouTube?
Yeah, so I'll send it through Canvas announcements in general, but for this first week, it'll still be by email. So,
oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, just, I think you had me before, right? Just so, yeah, sort of like what we did last time.
All right, sweet, thanks.
Sure. Anybody else want to ask a question? You can either unmute yourselves or put it in the chat.
It's just a question.
Yes.
I'm on the wait list. I'm still on the wait list.
Yes, Safa, send me, I think you already sent me an email. I'll get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but yeah. In fact, I think most of you on the wait list, I think you should be okay. Again, I'm not taking attendance. You don't have to show up. You can just watch the video a little bit later.
Are you grading homework for correctness or completion?
Am I grading homework for correctness or completion? Pretty much just for completion. I don't have the time or energy to look over every single question. And besides, you generally have all the answers in the back of the book, as you know. So, yeah, for homework, I pretty much just look at it. Okay, you did it, you did it, you did it, and so on. So,
also,
yes, I will not look at the homework carefully.
okay, and then also, depending on how lengthy the section is, how long could we spend like per section? Like,
okay, sorry, I couldn't quite get the last part, depending on how long the homework was.
no. So how long could we spend like per section? Like, I mean, like, do you take?
How long do I spend per section? Okay, so I stopped to share, but if you look at the schedule, it sort of indicates like for this week, right? The schedule is 6.1, so 2 days, so roughly 2 days a section. So, well, this, I can share the screen again a little bit later. Why don't I just go back to sharing the screen? But it looks like on the average, it's maybe 2 days per section, if that's what you mean.
Yeah,
So 6.1, 2 days, 6.2, 2 days, 6.3, 2 days. Is that sort of what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah, I might fall behind or I might get ahead. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
But yeah.
Did you send that calendar and the homework in an email?
Yeah, so the syllabus has, that I sent you, has this thing, and it also has the calendar,
Oh, gotcha.
and it has the homework. So if you didn't get it, send me an email, and that would be great.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
Okay, you're welcome. Anybody else with a question, please? Otherwise, I'll get started with a little bit, but we'll probably still end early.
I got a quick question.
Mhm.
How is homework turned in?
How is homework turned in? Okay, so you'll take pictures on your cell phone. Just get your cell phone of everything and just, click, 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 click. Or if you have a scanner, you can scan it and just email me your homework. And it's due half an hour after the exam. So let me switch back quickly. All right, so when we have an exam, so Friday the 3rd, okay, our class ends at 9 o'clock. So I'll give you 5 minutes, 9:05, to click, click, click on your cell phone for your exam. And then you have until 9:30 to submit the homework. Okay, and what is the homework that I have to submit? all of this. But if you want to submit early, you may, like if you want to send it in the day before or that earlier that morning, then that's perfectly fine too. But that's my deadline. So just take pictures on your cell phone. Okay. All right. Anybody else with something, please? Okay, I'll start very little. So officially on the schedule, I've already done everything I was supposed to do. But if I get the chance, I'll sneak ahead a little bit with 6.1. Let me just show you a little bit of that. And those of you that are trying to add the class and you were on my original wait list, send me an email and I might be able to get you an ad code in today. Okay. 6.1. And by the way, if you don't even want to get the book, I'm guessing most of you have the book, or some of you were talking about other editions. Yes, you may use other editions. It's up to you to find equivalent problems though. Okay, but I'll generally be showing you all the problems that you need. So 6.1, the assignment was 1 to 29. So here it is. I'll try to show you this. Adjust this a little bit. Sorry. Okay. And of course, don't try to copy any of this down. You can just watch the video later. I just want to get it focused correctly. And I believe 29 was the last one. And there we are. All right, so if you never get the book, I'll just show you all the pages that you need. Okay, 6.1, the topic is area between curves. So you're given two curves, let's say an f of x and a g of x. How do I find the area between the two curves? Okay, so let me show you a little bit what I have. Okay, ignore any dates that I have here. Area between two curves. Okay, so you have a function f of x and g of x, and you're going between a and b. Now, if you look at this from Calc 1, I'm tracing this out. That's the integral of f of x dx. If I look at this right here, trace it one more time, that area, that is the integral of g of x dx. So if I want just this part, well, I can just take this area minus this area, or f of x minus g of x, the upper function minus a lower function. Okay. So the area is simply the integral from a to b of f of x minus g of x dx, the upper function minus a lower function. And by the way, you're allowed to put that on your formula sheet, on your cheat sheet, if you wish. Okay. Okay, somebody has a chat. Does anybody have a PDF version, I guess, of, I think you mean of the text? Yeah, you can reply to that person if you wish. It's up to you. Okay, so yeah, if you want to put that in your cheat sheet, you may, and you can start building that. Okay, the edition we're using is the 8th edition. James Stewart, where'd it go? Yeah, 8th edition right there. All right, so if you want to see it in the text, page 428, number 2 is essentially what I have here. The area of the region bounded by the curves f of x, g of x, and the lines x equals a, x equals b. F and g are continuous. F of x is greater than g of x. Area is the integral from a to b of f of x minus g of x dx. Or I like to say upper function minus the lower function. Okay. So if you want the area between these two curves, right? In Calc 1, this thing is the integral of f of x, area under the curve. This thing is the area under the curve for g of x. So if I want the difference between the two, I just subtract. Okay, so integral of f of x minus g of x, and the integral of a sum is a sum of the integrals, and the integral of a difference is a difference of the integrals, which means you can just put them together into one, like so, or like so. Okay. So what I was going to do is just show you one example, and then I'll stop. Okay. So the one I have is the integral from 0 to 4 of 5x minus x squared minus x dx. And let's see, I don't think this was one of the problems that was in the text. Okay, but yeah, so this may be from a different edition. So the question is, what's the area between 5x minus x squared and x? You basically just subtract the two. You're going to go from 0 to 4 of 5x minus x squared in parentheses minus x dx. Area between these two. Okay, so 5x minus x is 4x. So 4x minus x squared is what I'm integrating from 0 to 4. All right, so that's the power rule. 4x to the 1 becomes x squared over 2. We call the power rule. Power rule, you add 1 to the exponent and you divide by the new exponent. Okay, x squared, power rule, x cubed over 3, right? Add 1, divide by the new exponent. From 0 to 4. Please notice a proper way of writing it. The left side, 0 to 4 with a funny looking s, but when you integrate, the funny looking s moves to the right side and straightens out. So 0 to 4. Okay, that's 2x squared minus x cubed over 3. Plug in 4. So that gives me 32. 2 times 16 is 32. Minus 4 cubed is 64. 64 over 3. Minus 0 is easy. Plug in 0, you get 0 minus 0. So it's 32 minus 64 over 3. Common denominator is 3. Take 32 times 3, 1 times 3. So 96 over 3 minus 64 over 3. Final answer is 32 over 3. So that's what we're up against for section 1. And that's just an introduction of what I was going to give you. And that was basically it, folks. Okay. And let me see, check the chat. Okay, so about additions in the text. Okay, and I think we're good. All right, it's about 10 minutes too. I'm finished, folks. So I'll let you ask any questions if you have any. I can't see the chat and share the screen at the same time. So let me close this up. All right, so most days are going to be like this. You don't have to join the Zoom session if you don't want to, but then watch the video later. I'll have it up at YouTube, hopefully later in the afternoon. But if you do join, of course, have your first and last name as on my row sheet. Keep yourself muted unless you're asked to, speak. And you can always put stuff in the chat. I don't see anything else in the chat. Okay, waitlisted people, if you want to get in class, send me an email. Anybody else with a question? Otherwise, we're done for the day. All right, so have a good day. I will do more problems from, so Thursday, I'm looking at the schedule here. So 6.1, go ahead and get started reading some of those problems and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, all right, have a good day, everybody. Bye.
Professor.
Bye, have a good day.
Thank you, Ticker.
Thank you.